This Friday, Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan are back to switch things up in Disney's Freakier Friday.
Totally. Yes.
It's an absolute riot.
Woo!
And the only movie that can be described as
So much weirder than the last time. What last time?
it's the frequel
You ready?
we've been waiting for.
That absolutely slays.
What deeply out of touch old person came up with that?
You did.
Wow.
Don't miss the comedy event of the summer for all ages. Disney's Freakier Friday in theaters this Friday. Get tickets now. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested.
It's Wednesday Addams. I see you're trying to distract yourself from your own banal thoughts. Let me help. Here's a recording thing made of my latest root canal.
Wednesday, Season 2, begins August 6th, only on Netflix.
It's back to school season, and Clorox is donating 2 million disinfecting wipes to classrooms across America. Because back to school means things can get a little bit messy. Just ask kindergarten teacher Miss Gibson.
Give me just one Clorox wipe and I'm ready for glitter glue, exploded lunchbox yogurt, peanut butter handprints, runny noses, picking noses, rubbing noses.
Touching noses.
Thank you, Edward. Ooh, nap mats and lockers and tissue boxes. And
Clorox
scissors.
disinfecting wipes. Teacher's #1 wipe. Clean feels good. Based on unit sales data.
Pie in the Sky Media. This series contains adult language and descriptions of graphic violence throughout. Listener discretion is advised.
3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome back. I survived the hurricane. Can you stand it? Can you even stand it?
I'm so happy that you survived. Thank you.
Stuff, you know what? Stuff got wet. Yeah.
Like outside?
That happened. No, listen, I'm just breaking balls, but a lot of people are like, well, it's just going to be a rainstorm. It was a lot more than just a rainstorm, okay? And all of the hype leading up to it, and then no one died and there was no damage. People are going, see, told you so. I'm saying, like, because we had time to prepare, people took it seriously, and so we were prepared. So that's why there was no damage, because there was a lot of fucking rain. I told you.
I'm surprised somebody didn't do a man on the street interview with you so that you could tell the people what it was really like to survive.
7 inches of rain in my backyard. That's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot of rain at one time. Palm Springs is still inaccessible. You can't get into Palm Springs. Try it. You can't do it. Yeah.
Well, I'm so happy that you made it out and that you're not doing this podcast on a raft. Because I know how dedicated you are, and I know.
Or in the Pacific, I mean, an earthquake hit, okay? One of these days, California's going to just break off. But thankfully, it wasn't the big one. But it was pretty big. It was 5 point something up in Ojai, just a couple hours north of LA in the mountains. So that's such a California thing, right? To have
Not really. I mean, did you see that thing in the New Yorker like a few years ago where it's like Seattle's toast? And everybody, oh my gosh, oh my, and then, you just kind of go back to business as usual.
Yeah, we're in the ring of fire. Yeah, you're right. I know.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It is really crazy, but no, everything's good. How was your weekend?
Great weekend. Busy. How about you? Oh, that's right. You were surviving. I forgot.
I was in survival mode. Yeah, you got that right. I had to put tarps on.
Oh my gosh. You know what? You're going to use this as the opportunity to try to get that bunker in your backyard again. You're going to be like, honey, I think that you can see now that it's time. Because remember, we talked about that in episode.
I'm looking at, because I'm at a different location today, but I'm looking out my back porch right where that bunker would go, and no one would know it. It's.
I can picture you wanting to have like setting out flyers for a bunker party.
So no, I wouldn't tell anybody. No one would know about it. You kidding me? I wouldn't tell no one about it. Mm-hmm. It's where my family and my cats would survive the coming apocalypse. And I would stock it with like just stuff that I like. There'd be a bunch of like licorice and
I was gonna say licorice.
Candy and licorice. Yeah. Of course there
bars.
Would. Of course there would. Of course there would. It would be fantastic. But so listen, this episode, well, first of all, yes, often at the top of shows, except last week when I was mad at you, I say very nice things about you, and they're all true. And I think this episode encapsulates you operating really at the height of your creative and investigative and kind of emotional powers and your powers of storytelling and everything, because it all really came together in a really well crafted, really difficult to listen to, tragic, informative story. And and a lot of times it's just, by not interrupting, right? Just letting the detective talk, just giving him space, right? Letting him kind of find his way through the emotions that he was kind of reliving. Letting the interview with that piece of shit murderer just play. Let making sure we hear exactly what kind of a madman and a monster that this guy is, so all of those things, really, really well done. And so all those times, nation, when you hear me singing Carolyn's praises, this is why, because this is what she is capable of. So very well done.
Thank you. I mean, here's the thing about, like, I think we were laughing callously about me leading Mac to that truck and us kind of giggling about what he was doing. And I know that it's
he was jagging off.
And like letting them tell their story. And Clay is like, he's so tight-lipped. He was a great interview, incredible interview. I actually had seen him on a different show, on a true crime show, and he was like the strong, silent type, but that emotion was there.
Come across in this. He seemed very, very willing to talk to you. So he didn't come across as,
well, I mean, strong, silent type, meaning like I bring up that thing with, when I was interviewing him, you always get the vibe of the person, and it's like letting them, kind of go down that path. I mean, the interview was like about an hour and a half. And so my point in all this, I guess, is that the payoff, I feel, was like listening, and then that emotion. And a lot of times when you talk to, detectives or just people in these types of positions, it's hard to get to that emotional place because they have to do this veneer. And I just felt like he really expressed himself in a way that was incredibly powerful. So I'm glad that you got something and felt something because of it, because I did too. And I really enjoyed talking with him.
Yeah, I can tell. So, man, this is one of those, well, we'll get to it, because there's one part in particular that really kind of sets this apart from the stuff that you normally do, or stuff that you normally hear or see or kind of learn about when it comes to like true crime stuff, but we'll get to that later. So Meredith Emerson, the victim here, crime of her life, 24. I love hiking in the woods. Okay. I'm up there, I'm doing it. Like, I get it. I see some weirdos, like beginning of the summer, there's going up the trail that I go, there's like the main fire road that's like as wide enough for a fire engine to go up, right? And then there are these trails that kind of branch off that people have kind of worn over the generations, right? Very clearly marked, but they take you up a different way, like off trail. And so I like going up those because it's get a little steeper at some points, and really gets the blood going. And then right at the top, there's a little clearing with the fallen tree where people sit and like give their dogs water or look at the view of the city or whatever. And I'm running by there, and I see a dude off in the bushes, obviously a homeless guy. Okay. Like, he's got his stuff there. He's got his backpack and he's dirty, and he kind of looks at me over his shoulder, and I just like kind of nod and keep going. All right. I'm like, oh, that was kind of weird. I wouldn't like my wife being up here alone, but whatever. And then like 2 days later, there's cops everywhere. And I get talked to. Do I know this guy? Had I seen him? Because he was up there pleasuring himself at the top of the trail whenever female hikers would go by. And finally,
obviously you sense that when his furtive behavior.
But also, look, I try not to hate on homeless people because they're just trying to get by and do what they can, right? And if this guy was up there, like wanting some privacy because he was changing or something, I actually thought like, hey, good for you. You're not doing it out in the open. Like, you're changing your clothes, like in the weeds, Okay. Okay, cool. Whatever. But it was so quick because I wasn't walking by. It was at a part of the trail where I run a lot. Right. So I didn't really, but then I'm like, oh fuck. And then it totally made sense. I felt like an idiot. Right. Like, oh, he was just doing something cool. No, he wasn't. He was being
Well, and that's
great.
the thing. Like, I'm not hating on homeless people either.
No.
I just feel like sometimes there's like that energy that
Yeah.
I talked about it before where, my daughter and I were at the gym together and our husbands, well, her boyfriend, my husband, they were with us and it was like a group session and the guy was just like weird. And my daughter and I both noticed it, but it wasn't anything that we thought, oh, okay. I mean, it's just her and I, and the guys didn't even clock it at all. So I'm just saying, like, I do think, you need to have evidence to back it up, but it's something to know. It's kind of like,
Right. And I agree with you.
Right.
And where it gets weird for me, or not confusing, but just less clear for me, is that just about any transient homeless person, they instantly have a different vibe than someone who isn't that, right? They have an instant vibe where your antenna will go up just because maybe they're dirty or what they're wearing, or they smell a little bit, or they've got a bunch of plastic bags with them, or whatever. Like there's instantly a vibe of different. Okay. Different, maybe dangerous. Okay. But they're not always dangerous.
I mean, I don't agree with that. I would say that I think that, you just, as you said, you can't judge a book by its cover. People, exactly. you just, it's like it's at a disadvantage because, they don't have a place to take a shower. They don't have,
right. That's what I'm saying. And so
take advantage.
I try to not, and hopefully not ever to my detriment, but I try to not assume the worst because my antenna goes up right.
Absolutely. But I think two things can be true.
Yeah.
That you don't want to assume the worst, but also that you just like, if you're jogging up a mountain by yourself,
assume the worst. Always.
It's like you want to just note that and make sure you've got, like a, Meredith. I mean, we can only hope that we would be able to respond in that way when that happens, but I don't
we'll
have
talk about that. Yeah, we will talk about that.
So, I totally agree with what you're saying. Like, it's like, you can't prejudge anybody, but then again, it's like, you do have to trust your gut and just be smart and not,
always better to err on the side of caution, of course. But so she gets in a fight with her boyfriend at the fireworks, 4th of July.
Yep.
Wakes up, still fighting. We've all been there.
Yep.
And she said, I'm going to go hiking with my dog, which is great. Go for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought it was going to be the boyfriend, like right away. Thought it was going to be the boyfriend. All right. And because the guy kept saying it 93% of the time. It's always someone that they know. I'm like, okay, dude. So
that's so funny because I thought you were
how you caught the boyfriend. Yeah.
I thought you were going to, as you would say, bust my balls about it. Like, I know Carolyn's going to tease me on this one.
No, I'm like, okay, finally, because the last few, there hasn't really been a resolution. So I'm like, all right, she's getting to the end, like right away. We know who did it. And we're going to have a bunch of information about how we caught the fucking guy and what a piece of shit he is. And it's going to be great. But then it's not the boyfriend because he's out of town. I'm like, the phone records. I went, well, then what's going on? All right. Then it got weird with this Seth Blankenship guy. I'm kind of mad at Seth.
Yeah.
Kind of mad at Seth, but he's a law enforcement. This fucking guy knows better. He finds all of the shit, sees signs of his struggle, and goes into a 7-Eleven and says, "Oh, I found this shit." What is that? What's
so interesting is that I got the crime scene photos of not of where the trail was, and I was actually really kind of torn with him too, because on the one hand, I thought it was really cool how he saw this broken tree branch and it was like a man tracker basically and then saw the scuffle marks. I mean, it wasn't like it was obvious that there was this huge battle that had taken place. You know what I mean?
But the stuff that he found, right?
Yeah.
He found like her stuff and a dog leash. Okay. Mm-hmm. And a weapon, a police baton.
Yeah.
Right. If he just calls the cops real quick and says, hey, I think something went down, maybe fingerprints or what, who knows? Could have gone a very, very different way is all I'm saying.
And Clay said the same thing, but he didn't want to, he wanted to be really careful because he's like, obviously nobody knew exactly, hindsight is 2020, but could it have been changed if he would have called right away?
And yes, hindsight is 2020. And what my 2020 vision gives me on this is why the fuck would he, if he's going to do something, if he's going to go through the trouble of collecting all of the stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Doing his investigation as a tracker and finding the broken branch and doing all of that shit. And then he goes to a convenience store to a stranger and says, just in case anybody ever asks, I found this stuff up on the trail. He doesn't have a cell. He could have called like right there. He knew something was wrong enough to tell a stranger, but he doesn't call the cops on it. Okay.
I mean, yeah. I know, like, okay. I think that, again, it could have been like, maybe she twisted her. I have nothing, but I do think that
her ankle and like dropped her police baton.
I don't know.
And but did a little dance on the trail to scuff up all the dirt and then break a branch.
But one thing that was great about that was that they knew that it wasn't the boyfriend, thank goodness, because he obviously didn't match the description. And then they knew that, they could give the description out to the media. And so it was like, okay, so there was always this kind of push and pull where it's like your heart's being wrenched out. But then again, it's like, okay, we have another lead. So let's track that down.
Right. And so which leads to John Tabor.
John Tabor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And gosh, I don't even want to say this guy's name, but the killer. Okay. Fuck this guy. Gary Hilton. So there's just what do you say about this guy?
There was a 4-hour interview tape, so I have a lot that I could say, but I don't even want to give, the only reason why I even wanted to put that in, I was so repulsed and disgusted by his views of everything and just every single thing, but like just what she had to endure, not only beatings and the abuse and the assault and the ultimate being murdered by this guy, but then his nihilistic like viewpoint of like,
it's weird to have a superiority complex about hiking. Like that.
He did. That's exactly what it was.
That's really weird. Oh, they think they're hikers, blah, blah. Dude, that's not something to flex on.
Okay? No, and he was. You should have heard him. And he was talking about how they got their cotton, they got their cotton gear. They should be wearing the nylon rayon or whatever. Like that's the real hiking gear. That's the kind of stuff that I wear.
How dare they? Right? Like that's a weird thing. That's a guy who's really doesn't have a lot going on, I guess, if he's got to hate on people who wear the wrong socks when they're hiking. Okay.
I know. And then his whole explanation about his teeth. I mean, what did you,
that made a lot of sense actually to me. No, I'm kidding. That fucking, what's wrong with this guy?
No, I know, but
I can snarl and go,
but what did you think? Like it wasn't just, I want to be scary. Okay. So there was that, but there was also, I want to make a political statement, sociological. I don't even know what that is. Statement about people who whiten their teeth. And that he wants to be the absolute reverse of that. And he wants to point it out. It just was like in his head, like who even, I don't even know if he believes that,
No, I think he does. Cause that was another thing. Like it's weird. It's like a psychosis, obviously, but to have a superiority complex around hiking, to think white teeth is like the bourgeoisie kind of, you're a fake person because you want white teeth. And so as a result of it, I'm going to break mine. I'm going to break my own teeth so I can snarl at people and make a weird noise. Right. Whatever the fuck he thought that was the smartest shit.
Can you do that again?
He thought that he was dropping so much knowledge in this interview.
You absolutely, Branden. Yes, you hit the nail on the head. It was like he was on stage for these detectives. And one cut that I just didn't have time to put in, but I wanted to, was that Clay was like, it took everything I had not to jump over across and just basically kill this guy. You know, like he just couldn't, you know, he was so emotionally devastated, wiped out, just like, and then listening to him monologue on like one topic from another topic to another topic about how great he was. And I mean, it was just like, I mean, hiking was just the tip of the iceberg, but can you imagine if he's got, you know, this expert on hiking, just how many other expertises that he has in his, you know, toolbox. You know, it just ran the gamut. It went for like 4 hours. And then finally
is it narcissism? Is it narcissism? Is it an overinflated sense of ego? Like what is,
I definitely
armchair psychology, this guy, like, what do you?
Yeah, I think he's a complete narcissist. And I think that he, clearly underestimated and thought he was such a badass that he could take, you know, Meredith down, who was 5'4", 120 pounds. And it just gave me, and, you know, just her kicking his ass.
Well, see, that's what I wanted to talk about. That's something that we sorry to interrupt you, by the way. We don't normally get that in a lot of these cases. The perpetrators generally aren't as verbose as Hilton was about this. Okay. And he just kept going. Okay. And given what the physical description that the detective gave him, that he was very physically fit, right? Yeah. He was like, oh, this guy's a specimen, even at 61, like he was strong, he was fit, he was whatever. And he brandished 2 separate weapons and couldn't put this girl down. No. Okay. He had to do the fake finger gun in the pocket thing. Okay. To get her to fucking chill. Okay. Or she would have kicked his fucking ass because she already was doing it successfully.
She was doing it. She was absolutely.
And I'm sitting there going, who falls for my finger's a gun? Right. Okay. A girl who has already seen this guy brandish 2 other weapons. So I would believe it that this person's really well armed, and he just escalated his weapons. I'm like, all right, the gun is next. But
the thing about, let me just pause for a second. Let me just interject real quick, is that there was this monologuing, like I said, and, you know, narcissism and believing he was superior and all that. But then he also displayed this other part where he would talk, because he went into this, he was a telemarketer. So he would go into this whole kind of his sales pitch and his routine. And when he did that, he would say, honey, and his demeanor kind of changed a little bit. I mean, obviously it was a complete act, right? Yeah. But it was like, I could picture him saying, I have this gun, I don't want to use it, but I will, honey, you know, just trying to, and maybe she just was like, okay, let me try something different. Let me just, because she would try, I think she tried to escape during the 4 days too. And it unfortunately didn't work out. But I think that there was some of that too, where it was, he did play that emotional card with her. And I don't know for a fact if that's what it was, but I felt like I saw glimpses of that during the interview, where he changed a little bit, and you could see that he could kind of talk away that would get her to think, okay, if I just do what he says now, I've tried kicking his ass, almost did it, you know, maybe let me try doing it this way, and maybe he'll let me go, you know?
Hello, Nigel here. I couldn't help noticing that you're still awake. Now, I'm an owl. I'm supposed to be up at night, but you need your sleep. So if it's your allergy symptoms that are keeping you up, here's a word to the wise. Try Zysol. You see, Zysol works fast to relieve sneezing, runny nose, itchy watery eyes, and itchy nose and throat. And it keeps going strong for 24 hours, so you can get your sleep and wake up refreshed and ready for a productive day ahead. Be wise, all. Take Zysol at night. Use as directed. Starts working in 45 minutes.
The #1 selling product of its kind with over 20 years of research and innovation. Botox Cosmetic, onabotulinum toxin A, is a prescription medicine used to temporarily make moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better in adults.
Effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow eyebrow and eyelid drooping and eyelid swelling. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Tell your doctor about medical history, muscle or nerve conditions including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. For full safety information, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
Well, there's no justice here, but there is maybe a small measure of justice that he has to live with the fact that he couldn't beat up a 120-pound girl with a knife and a fucking baton, that he had to trick her into thinking that he had a gun, this coward,
his brain, he didn't even want to give her credit for what she did, because I didn't play the part, because I just didn't want to take away from her badassery and just her just awesomeness. But he was then tried to say, oh, well, just because she has a black belt, people don't really, that's not a big deal. And, it was just kind of like, what? She nearly bested you. What are you talking about? She took both of your weapons. She didn't hesitate. She was everything that you weren't. You ambushed her, and she just didn't skip a beat and just totally was like almost got away. And that's like the heartbreaking part of this story, that it's just kind of like, if only she could have.
So why, Mike? So the big question is, hold on, why keep her alive for 4 days?
Well, according to the profile, he was a sexual sadist and a control freak.
Oh, Jesus
and so
Christ.
I think that, that was his ultimate thing, is to control somebody, because why would he keep doing this? Why would he keep, this is not a way to make money, to rob people who are hiking and take them to the ATM. And this is not a great plan, if you want to get money, is this the best way that you can do it?
I kind of wish I didn't know that.
What?
Well, I just, I guess I just kind of wish I could have kept a picture in my mind that he just, had her tied up in the back of the car and just, threw food at her for 3 days, that he didn't have any other motives. But okay. So, the guy, I love the fucking guy that called in from the gas station. Do you hear
I know.
He said,
great.
did I take him down? He's like, no, don't take him down. He would have done it. I'm picturing this guy. That guy was ready to roll.
Well, I think that was a testament to the media. He kept talking about the roommate and her network and how this just took off. And so I feel like the whole state was like, we got to get this guy. We got to save Meredith. Because as the details started rolling out about Meredith and people start getting to know her, and 24 years old at the very beginning of her career, everything going for her. She majored in French and had won an award and just was a great person, right? Had a rescue dog. Just every single thing that you can imagine. So everybody was rooting for law enforcement to, and this was that kind of case where everybody just kind of on boards, and it's a collective, we need to find this person. This is our sister. This is our daughter. This is, you know what I mean? And so I think that guy was like, I want to be a part of you cannot let this guy get down. And just his description of Hilton. And it was just so,
he's here. I know for a fact it's the guy. He is here. He's unloading shit from a van. Get here right now. Should I get him? No, don't get him. Get right. Cops are here. They got him. They got him. They got him. So, and that leads.
And he said, I don't know if you caught the end of it, but he said DeKalb's finest. And that was the local.
DeKalb County. Yeah.
County. And I was like, this was really one of those things where, people band together. I'm not going to say it was 9/11, but I'm just saying that kind of
community coming together, 100%. And so, which now leads me to for as smart as he claimed himself to be, that was a dumbass thing to do if you're a criminal. Just a big public place where everybody's looking for you. He was smart enough to change the license plates on his van, but dumb enough to just start dumping shit in a dumpster right near the woods where the victim is tied up.
Yeah. No, I know.
I'm glad you could always count on the stupidity of criminals, that they'll do something dumb. But Christ almighty. That, I mean, and then it gets all sad again where he goes back and she said, I thought you were going to leave me here. She thought she was going to starve to death, chained to a tree, you know?
I know. And that's what I'm saying, that there had obviously been like,
a relationship of some, not really like a stock.
I know. That's why I paused, because I don't obviously, but she was hoping that maybe in those moments when
she could appeal to some kind of humanity.
Yeah, and that she believed that maybe, that maybe he would, that maybe he would. Because when he would say, honey, and it was like a light had switched during this interview when he would describe the things that he said and how, when he would talk to people and like, I think that there was that component of that sales pitchy type stuff where he had it together enough to have this whole manifesto of his belief system and all that. But I think he also, the practical side of being a telemarketer for 10 years and saying the things that, people want to hear to get the sale. Yeah. And, I think that, that was at play here too. There was that psychological, he was just, this is as we've learned in the other episodes, like he probably enjoyed every single minute of this, Branden. To us, it's like, it is so tragic. It is terrible. But to him, he probably loved every day of this, having someone captive who would have to listen to his diatribes and his
how great he is.
Yeah. And he gave her books to read. And it was like these books where it's like talking about basically about his belief system and
So do you think that because it was interesting when the detective said you don't become this at 61 years old. You don't have 4 bodies in 2 months because something breaks in you at 61. It usually you become this in your late teens, early 20s. So could there be 40 years of victims out there?
I mean, he wrote a freaking screenplay in the 1980s about this. I mean,
about hunting women in the Georgia mountains. I mean, dude, come on, little on the nose.
I mean, a little on the nose. I mean, that's like up the nose and just inside your head. I mean, it's just.
Oh, that great story. The Most Dangerous Game. Did you ever read that?
No. I mean, maybe. I mean, I'm thinking of what? Tell me.
Really great, wonderful story. I guess I haven't read it in years, but it's basically. He starts off and you're on a wealthy yacht, like a rich man's yacht somewhere, like in a beautiful part of the world, out at sea, something. And this guy gets a little drunk and happens to fall overboard in the middle of the night. Okay. And no one hears it. And he's got to swim. And he knows earlier in the chapter, they mention they see lights on a small island, like far away. And someone says, oh no, a rich guy lives there, blah, blah, blah. There's only one house, whatever. Then the guy falls off, and so he knows where to swim. And so he swims to this island, and sure enough, this very wealthy, kind of eccentric man lives there, and he's got a crazy assistant who's this big native dude, and he wines and dines him in this wonderful library, and they're eating, and the guy's and then eventually he tells him that anytime someone winds up on his island, they go through the same thing. The guy's a hunter. And he said, I'll give you like a 12-hour head start on the island, but then I'm going to come after you. Okay.
I feel like I've read this before or seen a movie like this.
And the guy had a kennel of a bunch of dogs. And he said, because my dogs are hungry and you're going to be their dinner eventually. Okay. What he didn't know was that the guy he was hunting was like this fucking super cool, like really smart problem solving kind of guy and was setting all of these traps and doing all this stuff. Oh, I remember. Okay. And he winds up winning and killing the bad guy. And I remember the last line of the book is something to the effect of the dogs had never eaten so well. Like he
ate the owner.
Yeah, he fed the owner. Yeah.
That's just dessert. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Really, really wonderful story. The Most Dangerous Game is what it's called. Yeah.
I feel like I have read that. I mean, that's exactly who this guy was, except for he wasn't rich, obviously.
Right.
But
it was as much of a psychopath. Right.
Right. He wanted to hunt people and the pleasure of hunting them. And then he wanted to, especially since she kicked his ass so bad, of course he wanted to dominate her even more. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, that would make sense in that kind of, cosmology of his. Right.
Yep.
what did you think of his diatribes and all of his, like, what did you think when you heard him? Was it what you expected? Was it?
No, not at all what I expected. Not at all what I expected, but you think like Kaczynski with his fucking batshit crazy manifesto, or like all of these, even like I'm doing this John Wilkes Booth story right now, and just the letters that he was writing in his 12 days on the run were full of self-aggrandizing like lies, like demonstrable lies, that he said he rode 60 miles when everyone knows it was 30. Like he thinks we're not going to fucking figure this out. And he starts rewriting the history of what he did, like with not even a week later, right? Like comparing himself to Macbeth and to William Tell and to Brutus and all. And so it's just, so it's like all of these murdering kind of scumbags, they think that they have a mission, right? They think that they have something of importance that's driving them. But if you wind up having to hurt and fucking murder people, you're just full of shit, obviously. You know what I mean? It's just all, it's sad that they think that they're driven by some kind of higher kind of calling, right? To do stuff.
I know. And that's what makes me think back to him sitting in his cell, feeling having to live with the fact that she almost bested him, is that he's not doing that. He's already replayed everything and come up with an alternate ending to that as to why it didn't have anything to do with her prowess. It didn't have anything to do with her determination and skill and, getting her black belt and doing all those things. It was all about, he's changed that already. And so that sucks, because I would love to have him sitting there, stewing in it and having to relive that over and over and over again. That would just make me, I think that you said it so well when you talked about the guy that kidnapped the little girl and then murdered her in a previous episode. And you're like, I hope that he just heals enough every day to get it again and again and again. Like, I was like, yeah, that sounds, you're smiling.
I know. So what happened to Hilton? Is he alive still? I don't think you covered.
Yeah, he's on death row. So
he's waiting for the needle.
Yeah, but he's already described he doesn't care about that, because he's like, it's going to cost you guys $2 million to, okay, fine. But by the time I'm 76, take me, or 86 or whatever. Like, he already knows the game. And so he, yeah.
Wow. Are people investigating additional potential victims?
Yeah, they are. But he's a suspect in 5 unsolved murders, but he's not talking, and they don't have physical evidence to tie him, to it. But I mean, clearly there could be more and more and more,
Is there a potential deal where they won't give him the needle if he gives up like victims?
I mean, I think that if that were going to happen, it already would have happened.
Right. What do you think about deals like that?
I think it really depends. I think that depending on what the family wants, I think they have to be, if they want to know, like in this case, like they wanted, I'm assuming that they wanted to recover Meredith, and that they needed his help in order to do that, because these woods are so vast, and he had separated, he had decapitated her, as you know. And so, like, I feel like it's really, the family needs to be brought into this. It can't just be, and I don't know. What do you think about deals like this?
Again, almost exactly what you were saying. Like, I can see it from both sides. I don't like to think about the one side, but I know where I would land. But if I'm just a casual observer, I would say no deals. Make them suffer, accidentally fuck up the injection so it burns for a long time, right? Like that's where I want.
Well, no, I mean, like the Green Mile, that book where they didn't put the wet stuff on
the
there.
Bad Death of Edouard Delacroix. Absolutely.
Yes, like,
that was such a harrowing chapter in that.
I know.
book.
Whenever I think of the death penalty, I think of like, put water on the things.
Oh my
like what?
gosh.
And then, right?
Stephen King at his best.
Oh my! What's your favorite Stephen King book? If you had to pick one, what would be the favorite one?
Oh wow. Geez, The Stand, probably.
Really?
Maybe. Just because he is such a broad canvas of emotion and danger, and the scene in the tunnel coming out of New York. The Lincoln Tunnel was brutal. Like because I grew up right there, been through that tunnel 10,000 times, right? And now that's all I can think about when I drive through it.
Now that's the powers of good writing.
Yeah, no shit. But
you probably read that when you were a teenager, right?
Yeah. Some of his short story collections really get me. Like I love
the Rafts. Did you ever read that?
Yeah. And like, or man, yeah, that's such a good question. No one's ever asked me my favorite Stephen King book. I really don't know. I love the novella that has Rita Hayworth and The Shawshank Redemption and The Body. Like those are
oh my gosh,
wonderful stories. Yeah, those are great stories because that's the strange thing about Stephen King. Some of his like I'm like, oh man. Like I didn't understand how he would get to some of the endings until I read his book on writing, and I realized that he doesn't start with an ending. He figures out the ending as he goes, and sometimes the ending's kind of stupid, right? Like Under the Dome was a great fucking story, which in the ending I was like, all right, I don't like the ending. I was expecting so much more of it. But then when you have Shawshank Redemption, where he gets you with such emotion, like such fucking emotion, or with The Body, I'm like, why do you have to kill Chris Chambers? Like, why'd you kill him? Right? Like, I don't understand. And then he has that, and he ends with the line, like, I never again the rest of my life did I have friends like the ones I had when I was 12 years old. Jesus, does anybody? And then
so you're talking, yeah. So Stand By Me, yes,
Stand By Me, right? It was originally called The Body when it was written, right.
Yes.
Like he has specific lines in some stories where I just have to put the book down and then just go off by myself for a few days. Right. And like think about shit because he's as good.
And then hold on a second. We're talking about like one of my favorites is Misery, and just her oogie doogie or whatever she would say would be so like awful. Like
when she hobbled him, with the sledgehammer.
Yes.
Like I
know, but
it was, kidding me?
I know. And then the drugs and the hardcore and the hair and the
like classic thriller.
Classic scary in your mind imagining this. That's his power,
as good as he is at the horror stuff, I think he's at his best with his emotional stuff.
I mean Shawshank Redemption,
incredible.
I always kind of forget about that when I asked that question. Of course I was thinking horror, but his other like Shawshank Redemption, The Body, those are just so amazing.
Coming of age, just like his coming of age stuff, like he's such a, like there's a book called Genius where a guy talks about like the greatest writers of all time. Okay. And number one is Shakespeare and number two is Cervantes. And then he said there was only one living writer up until last month when Cormac McCarthy died. He said Cormac McCarthy for years was the only living genius of a writer. And it always struck me when he talked about Shakespeare that in the literary circles, his nickname is Nature's Mirror. Okay. Like that was his genius. He just sat there and he just was able with his pen and his mind to reflect what he experienced in nature in such a profoundly accessible way, that, before anyone wrote anything, he wrote everything, and it's just, So, and that's what Stephen King is, for me, is able to tap into the emotional journey of, from youth up until now, how old he is now. Right. And so he just nails it. He just fucking just gets it like right there. What scares you? What makes you fall in love? What makes you feel alive? What makes you wish you were dead? What makes you, and like all of those crazy things. And then funny, holy shit, he makes you laugh. He wrote a book called a short story called Suffer the Little Children, which was crazy and prophetic, unfortunately, about a school shooting in a fucking kindergarten, which was awful. And you never thought that it would ever happen because it came from Stephen King. There's no way. And now, unfortunately, it's become true a lot. He wrote in the original version of The Running Man, right? There was he flew a plane into a building to blow up the TV studio, right? Like 20 years before 9/11, just crazy shit.
I mean, you forget how many books he's actually written in the movies. Because I was just thinking of The Watch. What was that with, more cowbell? What's that actor's name again?
Yeah, with Christopher Walken.
Yeah. So, forget about that. Like, that's Stephen King. Like, it's just so... Salem's Lot.
The Shining.
Salem's Lot scared the hell out of me when I was a kid.
Crazy.
That kid tapping at the window. I don't know why. Somehow I went to a drive-in movie theater. Somebody brought me to that, and that was like the worst. It was like a double feature with that and what was the other? It was like a werewolf one. Anyway,
but look at early Stephen King from Carrie and Carrie, The Shining, but what's the one with the car?
Oh, Christine.
Holy shit, Christine! Yeah. Are you kidding me? I mean, just.
I know.
Cujo.
Oh no, like Pet Cemetery.
Right?
Gage, that little boy named Gage, and so creepy of him coming out and you could see why the mom would want. I mean, it's just okay, we got to stop because people are like.
Crazy is the opening of The Stand, right? Where it's just a car slowly coming to a stop at a gas station because everybody in it's dead. Okay. And from this, because it's the disease that escaped from the fucking lab in these people, and someone opens the door and right?
Tommy Knockers.
Did
you read Tommy Knockers? That was a trip. Oh my god. Yes, that was like with the digging up the yard and oh my gosh.
Yeah. All right. Great. Now I got to go through my library and find some old.
I think that we had to get off of this case because that's how bad it is.
Yeah. I needed the distraction. Definitely. I definitely needed distraction, but I was honest in my assessment of really you kind of bringing all of your kind of strengths together in one thing. Because, kind of, you think it's going to be the boyfriend and then it's not. And then we figure out what's going on. And then you hear the guy's voice and hear him talking. And it was such a strange kind of examination of a psychopath, and letting him talk about the fight, right? Mm-hmm. Like you talk about it, but then you hear it from him. So it really kind of drives it home. So it was all very, very well done. Really awful and disgusting subject matter, but it's got to tell the story, and I think the takeaway is, if something feels wrong, something is wrong, get the fuck out of there. That's it. Don't worry about hurting someone's feelings. I know. And he waited. He waited for her.
But that's the thing. You wouldn't
gotta come back down.
Exactly. You with the teeth. Oh my god.
I'm just thinking about this guy. Like I'd punch him in the face. Tries to scare me with snarly teeth. You know what I mean? Because how many people did that work on? Oh God.
No, but he had weapons. Like those police batons are no joke.
No joke. They will fuck you up. Absolutely. Yep. All right. So great job. What do we got coming up?
Well, I got a few things in the hopper. We'll just have to.
Yes. Okay. All right. Sounds good. I will get this one published ASAP. So everybody, thank you again for choosing to spend some time with us out of what I'm sure is a busy week for all of us. So we very much appreciate it. Please consider patronizing the wonderful companies that support our show. And if you have time, head on over to Apple Podcasts and give us a like, give us a share, maybe write a review if you're so inclined. It helps more than you know. Carolyn, you'd like to add anything?
Yep. I'm Carolyn Osorio with Branden Morgan, and we will see you next week.
Thanks, everybody. Stay safe. Bye.
The Murder Chronicles is a pie-in-the-sky production recorded live in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. We are produced by Branden Morgan and myself, music by Soundstripe. For Pie in the Sky Media, I'm Carolyn Osorio, your writer and host. Thanks for listening.